Hey guys, so I'm on a rooftop here in southern Spain. I'm heading to Chamonix tomorrow. Really looking forward to CCC. This week I thought I'd do something a bit different, give you guys a Q&A. As you know, I'm in taper mode right now, so I'm not doing too many exciting runs, although I'm in a pretty beautiful area. You can see some awesome mountains behind me. But yeah, let's get to a Q&A. It's pretty windy, maybe a bit stormy as well, so we're going to try and record this real quick before it starts raining again and answer some of the questions that you guys have left for me. So first question, what is CCC? So CCC is stands for the 3 main villages within the race. So Courmayeur, Champaillac and finishes in Chamonix. So it's a 101 kilometer ultra trail race, 6,100 meters of climbing and descending, so pretty challenging and beautiful part of the world there in the Alps. The next question is, what's my goal for CCC and have I done it before? So my goal is definitely top 10. Every ultra I go into, I always want to try and get into the top 10 there. As I mentioned guys, this is probably one of the most competitive 100Ks in the world, so it's going to be really tough to get in that top 10 spot, and there's probably, you know, at least there's a list of like 50 elite guys who will be able to get there if they have a good day. So it's going to be tough, it's going to be hard work, but that's why I've been really pushing myself for this training cycle. It's definitely want to try and get in that top 10 or beyond. Might be a bit of a pipe dream, but it's always good to dream big and to aim high, and I'll see what happens on race day, hopefully a bit of magic. Next question, how do I run so much and how do I not get injured? I've certainly had my fair share of injuries throughout the years, so it's definitely from experience now. I've been running for a long time, so it's taken me many years to kind of build up to the amount of volume, the amount of distance that I do now and the time on trails each week. Also, it's really important to stay on top of all the little things that keep you healthy and fit as a runner. So I always recommend, like the athletes that I coach, or always do myself as well, plenty of foam rolling, doing stretching when you can, making sure you're doing all the good things to take care of yourself. Great nutrition is a really big part of it, which is something that I really rely on, and I know it's helped me a lot throughout the years. I follow a vegan, plant-based diet myself, whole foods, and yeah, plenty of sleep as well. So really recommend that you always take care of your body as best you can, guys, and realize that you've got to do your training. You can't just look at someone else and emulate what they're doing. It's all about building up from where you are right now, and gradually over the years you can handle more volume, more stress on the system. And as I said, I've been running for a long time. It's taken me a long time to get to this point, and hopefully I can exceed it in the future, but definitely always on my mind is just about keeping myself healthy, keeping myself injury free, and then if you do have any kind of flare, it's respecting your body, respecting how it's responding, and give it the time to heal. Next question, how do you stride up these steep mountains to keep that pace? So when it comes to climbing mountains, running on mountains, obviously if you're training for these longer big ultra races, you have to accept that within the race itself you're not going to be running up every single hill unless they're pretty gradual hills. If there's steep hills and there's steep descents, which there will be in my next race CCC, there's going to be plenty of those. That means within the race there'll be a lot of hiking, so a lot of power hiking you call it. So you're trying to hike with pace, you're not just kind of jollying up the mountains, taking your time on a nice leisurely walk. You're walking pretty hard, pretty concentrated. Sometimes maybe if it's nice and steep, you've got your hands on your knees and you're pushing hard against your knees, trying to really knuckle down as much pace and much effort as you can into your stride. But for me, I'll be using poles, so I use Lecky poles. Poles are really useful within ultra races. Obviously it allows you to put a lot more force through the ground. With each stride you've got 3 points of contact as opposed to just your feet, and obviously allows you to be a lot more efficient with your energy and put a lot more power into the hills. What I would recommend as well, if you are new to hill running, is just really think about your cadence, keeping that cadence nice and quick, nice and light, small steps, making sure you're not just trying to overstride up the hills is a really important aspect, which you see a lot of people new to the hills trying to do all the time. Just about those short, sweet little steps, taking your time, especially if it's technical terrain as well. You've got to take these little efficient steps, finding the footing, the placement that really works for the terrain that you're on, and eventually it might seem like you're getting nowhere, but eventually you'll get to that summit, and then the best feeling ever, you'll be able to run down that hill and have fun. So the next question there is, do I run intervals on a weekly basis? So this really depends on my training goals, what races I have ahead, and obviously periodizing my training to suit those needs. Intervals are definitely something that are very beneficial within a training cycle. You know, from anything from a shorter distance race to a longer distance race, even ultras, it's really important to run intervals. But it's really important more so to make sure that the intervals that you are running are specific to the race and the demands and the needs that you're trying to build up and focus on with your running. So obviously if you're trying to really work on your short speed, you need to be doing shorter intervals. If you're really trying to work on your longer pace, your sustained pace that you can run within a longer race, you need to be really developing that lactic threshold, perhaps doing longer tempo tempo style intervals. So intervals are quite a broad concept when you think about them, really, you know, but you can definitely make sure that you're being specific with the interval work that you're doing for any race. But to answer the question as a whole, do I run intervals weekly? No, not necessarily. You could say that maybe I do, because I'll do strides and other such aspects like that, but for the most part I really listen to my body and make sure that I'm not trying to do too much too soon. If I'm doing an interval session, I'm trying to go hard, obviously a few days before a race or the week of a race, a big race like this, it's not really going to be the best thing for my training. Sometimes you have to make sure you take a step back and let your body recover. Next question: how do I fit in all the mileage, training and a full-time job? So I'm really fortunate. Right now I make my living. I'm a full-time coach, so I coach runners, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to take this job with me. So I'm really fortunate to be able to work wherever I am. So I always make sure that a big part of that is obviously making sure I try and base myself where training is going to be conducive, going to be easy to do, accessible, and that's what I've been doing here. So in Spain, that's what I've been doing, basically plonk myself right in the mountain, where I've got trails on my doorstep. So I've got the mountains to go straight up onto, have fun, play hard on the trails, train hard, and then as soon as I get home, straight onto the working hard. Really enjoy my job, find it very rewarding to help athletes out there achieve their goals. Okay, final question: what is my strategy in a race when it comes to aid stations, drop bags? Do I carry enough nutrition with me, food for the race? Usually I don't really rely on drop bags. For sure I prepare them if the race has drop bags, especially, you know, here in Europe where the weather conditions can really take a turn for the worse within a race. It's really important to have a drop bag. Make sure you are prepared, you know, for those eventualities, so that you know that when you get to that point in the course you can get dry clothes, you get dry socks. Obviously food is a really important aspect, nutrition, to be able to restock your supplies, perhaps if you've eaten a little bit more than you'd expect to. So yeah, I'll definitely put stuff within a drop bag, but definitely when I get myself onto that start line, I'm usually in the frame of mind that I don't want to have to hit that drop bag, so I don't want to have to touch that drop bag unless it's, you know, it's emergency and I'm feeling really a bit worse for wear than I'd like to be at that point in the course. I always like to stand on the start line, pretty much prepared to take myself from start to finish, completely self-reliant. For sure I'll use aid stations. When I get to aid stations, usually what I'm doing, running into an aid station, if I'm using bottles, I'm unscrewing the tops, trying to be as fast and efficient as possible. So straight into the aid station, I have a plan, I know what I want to do, and usually for me that's just filling up my water bottles. I use tailwind within races, so maybe I will have already put fresh powder, tailwind into my bottles, so that all I have to do in the aid station is fill my bottles up with water, grab a handful of bananas perhaps. I'm always kind of pretty dialed in, pretty kind of tunnel vision, fill up the water, grab a little bit of fruit, and then I'm straight out there. Definitely aid stations are important, but it's important to remember when you go into a race not to rely on them. So it's just a bonus and a benefit to have those extra calories there available to you. Obviously the water is something that you should expect from those aid stations at least, but definitely, you know, don't go into a race without any food, without any fuel strategy of your own or your own nutrition. Definitely have your own nutrition and then use anything from there as a bonus, as a plus, should you feel like maybe you need something like that later in the race to fuel yourself up. Okay, so we are getting closer to the race now. As I said, I leave for Chamonix tomorrow. Really looking forward to the race. I'm just going to talk you guys through my Strava, what I've been up to this week. It has been a taper week, so I've been taking things really easy, but it is important at the same time to keep a little bit of running motion in there, of course. Let the body heal up from the big volume weeks that you've had, but have been out there, have been running a little bit, so I'm going to talk you guys through that now on my Strava. Leave any more questions below, guys. I do enjoy doing these Q&As, so hopefully we can do some more in the future. I hope the sound has been alright for this. It is pretty blowing and windy here, but we have avoided the rain. So let's have a look at that Strava. So this has been Strava for this week. As you can see, it's been, you know, another drop in volume again, really letting the body recover from these tough weeks that I've been having leading up to CCC. I'd rather be over rested, feeling, you know, really healthy, really relaxed. I'm really just excited to run when I get to these ultra races, especially a big one like this CCC. I know it's going to be super competitive, and I've been working hard for this. It's been, you know, a big training load up at altitude, and it's been challenging and it's been fantastic in many ways. And it's really important to understand in preparation for these big races that you need to give the body some time to readjust, to adapt. So it's been a big part for me. So you can see, finished off the week on 81 kilometers. So, you know, leading into this week as well, perhaps, you know, I was thinking more around the 100 kilometer mark. Always a nice goal to get to that 100k, but it just didn't happen, and I wasn't stressed about that. I was happy and relaxed and feeling focused, and I know that I've done the hard work, and the most important part for me now is just taking a step back and relaxing. So you can see, starting off the week on Monday here, the nice 15 kilometer run, keeping it nice and runnable. So the pace was a bit better than it has been recently, with some good elevation gain there. So nothing too technical, nothing rocky, just keeping the legs moving nicely. And the same goes there for Tuesday. Very similar run again, but definitely chased a bit more vert again. You know, I couldn't leave the mountains without getting in that, you know, 600 odds going to go to the top of Valletta, but just keeping it nice, giving it a nice minimum of climbing, making sure the muscles are still working well and active, with that range of movement, which obviously is going to be a lot within CCC, a lot of climbing there. Wednesday, really short run. I was super busy, really, you know, morning till night with work. But again, within these taper weeks, that's what I'm trying to do, trying to be really proactive with my time. Still like to keep my energy focused in other areas. I'm not the kind of guy to sit still and do nothing. So, you know, sometimes it's important to remember that runs don't have to be a certain length, they don't have to be a certain distance. If you've only got 45 minutes, half an hour, 20 minutes for a run, it's better to get out the door and get the body moving, get the body active, than to do nothing at all. So that's really what happened on Wednesday. It was a short, real easy run. A bit of climbing in there, but nothing crazy again. So Thursday, see you later, Sierra Nevadas. This is my last run in Sierra Nevadas here in Spain. 10 kilometers, 700 meters of climbing. Nothing intense, just getting out there, enjoying the mountains one last time before Friday. So Friday, got to Granada, had a nice run along the river. This was a great run, managed to get a bit of climbing in there with that 300 meters of climbing. But this was all kind of concentrated into this one hill, so it was a great kind of steady effort at this hill, trying to keep some good running even with the climb, and then dropping back down on the way back to the sea, throwing down some good kind of tempo pace there. So getting in a bit of that tempo, a bit of speed. Earlier in the week in some of those runs there were some strides in there as well to make sure I was keeping the body active. It's really important within these taper weeks, even though you reduce the volume, keep some intensity in there, some speed work in there. For me, that's more about just getting the body pumped there, making sure you're keeping yourself active enough, keeping the body regenerating and absorbing the training. The volume is what takes it out of you for those ultra races, but having these short, intense little bouts within your runs is really important, keeping that range of movement, that mobility there, getting the heart and the lungs pumping, really nice. And obviously it's not long enough to be damaging when you've done some of these tougher, longer sessions that I have done. It's just enough to keep the body working over nicely. So into Saturday, Sunday, just easy shuffling, 12 kilometers on the Saturday, 12 kilometers on the Sunday, just topping off the week here down in the south of Spain in this hot and humid conditions, jumping in the sea, getting some swimming done, keeping the body active, eating lots of fruit, lots of great fresh watermelon, really cheap down here, and just really looking after the body and getting some great sleep as well. So as you can see, guys, not a big week of volume. Obviously that's going to be all resting up, keeping the body active, keeping myself really motivated for the race next weekend. So can't wait to get to Chamonix tomorrow, guys. Going to be taking lots of video, lots of footage there. Can't wait to show you guys that and share that with you. Can't wait to be around so many incredible athletes at this trail running festival, which is undoubtedly one of the biggest, most popular races in the world, if not the biggest. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. Thanks again for the support and happy running.